Hello and welcome to Frontline Conversations. Today we have Advocate Manuraj Shunmugasundaram with us. He is not merely an advocate, he is also a spokesperson for the Dravidian Kazhagam and is a very popular face on national television as well as Tamil television. He is also an accomplished advocate and handles many cases runs across the country, and is also a fabulous tennis player. Thank you, Manu, for joining us today in the studios. My first question obviously is on the DMK Manifesto, which was released yesterday. I have many questions, but the first of that will be is this 8,000 coupon a freebie? Because, there is a fridge promise on one side by the AIADMK, and now we have this 8,000 coupon where the CM repeated it repeatedly and said this is for the housewives, and you can buy anything that you want, from microwave to fridge to television to whatever. So is this the way state should behave, a responsible political party should behave?
Thank you so much, RK and Frontline, for having me today. The idea of a welfare state, is not new. And definitely, Tamil Nadu has been a pioneer of this idea right from 1967 when the Dravidian Kazhagam was first elected to power. The idea that you could give oru padi arisi, oru rupaayi, so a measure of rice for 1 rupee. Right from then, over the midday meal schemes that were enhanced during the years of, let's say, NGR, and then the various sort of, schemes that have come through in the 2000s and today. You see a gradual progression. And now if you looked at this alone, you may think of this as an excessive expenditure. But when you compare it or cross-check it or corroborate it with the kind of human development progress, economic progress that a state like Tamil Nadu has seen, and especially in the last 5 years, this must be regarded as an investment in the people of the state, right? So in 2021, the DMK was sworn into power on the back of a promise to provide a Mahalir Urimai Tiktam or Mahalir Urimai Togai Tiktam. So this was a women empowerment scheme where they received a monthly 1,000 rupee cash incentive. So you can go ahead and see so many of these. Now this, I would argue, must be seen in that light, as a successor of the Mahalir Urimai Togai. Mahalir Urimai Togai, of course, as you know, is now being increased to 2,000 rupees a month. But the 8,000 rupee coupon or voucher idea builds on that to say, look, now there's a promise to women, and women must be recognized for the kind of unrecognized domestic labor that they often endure in our home, and that is across caste lines, across class lines. The kind of responsibilities that they have, child care, elderly care, domestic responsibilities, cooking, shopping, so on and so forth. Now, this in one way, the Ilatharasi scheme, as we have called it, ensures that women are finally, removed or partially removed from the burden of all the domestic chores. Either it could be, as you said, a microwave, a mixer, a washing machine, a fridge, or so on, right? These are all now items which are not luxury, but are essential in most middle-class homes. So therefore, this is an extension of that idea. And I would argue it must be seen as further empowering the women of the state. And this kind of schemes must be sustained until men of the state and, may I say, of the world share equal responsibility, domestic responsibility. Once all the men start equally cooking, sharing child care responsibilities, I think that would be the right time to think about whether this is an excessive expenditure.
Yeah, on the promises manifesto itself, what do you think will be your headline, so to speak? There are several things. It's a huge document, and there's a lot of effort that goes in. At least from 2006, that we are seeing the first time when color television was offered by the DMK, and the manifesto was said to be the hero of the election. I don't particularly believe it, but then the manifesto came to be regarded as something really, really big, at least by the DMK. So, what is your headline from the manifesto?
So the manifesto itself is a headline, right? Okay. The fact being that manifesto is a agreement that the party makes with the people and say, at least hold us accountable to what we say over the next 5-year period. And it is also an undertaking. And the manifesto, I believe, also reflects upon what the people of the state want. the Manifesto committee headed by Member of Parliament Kanmuri Karunanidhi, they toured across the state. They spoke with various sectors, people from walks of life to understand what it is that the state needs. But to me, the highlight of the manifesto is how all the schemes which have helped Tamil Nadu achieve tremendous economic growth over the last 5 years. That could be the Mahari Urmai Togai, Pudumai Pen Tittam, the Non Mudalvan Tittam, the free bus travel for women, and so on and so forth. All of this get expanded, further enhanced in the present manifesto. But ultimately, according to me, if I need to put it in one sense, the manifesto is brand Dravidian model of governance. And I think that is the headline for me. I could go on and rattle off how all the different schemes have been enhanced, what are the new undertakings, but people know it well enough now. And what it shows is that brand Dravidian model will further enhance and improve the state, not only economically but also socially. Human development indices will be taken care of, the most marginalized communities, even the Sri Lankan Tamil refugees who are not yet citizens of the country. There is a chapter in the manifesto for them. So this shows how far and wide the manifesto covers, right? But like I said, the Dravidian model, which was at one point a book, an academic exercise, if I may, by Karerasan and others, that has now become a practical, implementable model of governance. And that is now going to be difficult to dissociate from a state like Tamil Nadu.
Okay, lovely. So let's come to the alliance itself, DMK alliance. My personal belief is that in January there was a lot of momentum. The alliance was nearly completely formed. AIADMK, BJP was in a disarray, though they formed the alliance on 23rd of April of 2025 itself. There was a lot of progress with the alliances. They were not very sure who was coming to the alliance. But the DMK alliance was pretty much set. Then you saw the DMPK coming into the alliance. Then we saw the congressmen creating, orgies of trouble for the alliance, so to speak, in the number of seats. Oh, that's a novel thing. Now you see that every single alliance partner is completely and deeply unhappy with the number of seats allocated, the constituencies allocated. Has the DMK and the alliance lost momentum going into the election, and we are already the end of March?
I certainly believe that the alliance has been intact. The chemistry that the alliance has enjoyed, and this is not an alliance which is formed in 25 or 26, barring the DMDK, which is a latest entrant. This alliance by and large has been the genesis of which is 2017, 2018. And it has faced around 7 or 8 elections consecutively. And may I say, it has succeeded in all these 7 or 8 major elections from the 2070s. So it's a tried and tested alliance, right? And like with any mature alliance, there were issues which were discussed within closed rooms and were finally resolved and agreed upon. Now, whether this can be compared to the other alliance, I would argue not, because see, you had a situation where AIADMK's leader, Eppadi Palaniswamy, in February 2025 went to a conference led by SDPI and said, I will never ally with BJP 26, 31 or 36 in any of direction. And within a few months, he had allied with BJP. You had people like TTV Dinakaran in the less said the better, but I have to say this, he said he would never accept Eppadi Palaniswamy as a chief minister candidate only a few months ago. So you have this kind of rumbling within an alliance, right? But there is here, the alliance discussions were more on how many seats, which are the constituencies, which are like you say is a very normal part of negotiation process, and that is what this alliance is. Ultimately, what I would say is that this alliance has completely backed brand Stalin. Now, you have a situation in comparison where the BJP and its leaders will not even acknowledge Mr. Eppadi Palaniswamy as a potential chief ministerial candidate. But this alliance is entirely led by or entirely backing brand Stalin. And ultimately, brand Stalin is the alliance, and the alliance is brand Stalin who ultimately will deliver us the Dravidian model of governance. So in that regard, the ideological underpinnings are also very clear. We have everybody here wants a federalist structure. Everybody here wants a more secular country, or at least protect the secular country that we are today. And everyone wants to make sure that the BJP's excesses are checked and the union government and the BJP do not convert Tamil Nadu into a state which, that it is not, by using its identity, its language and its culture. So that is a very, very strong undercurrent and underpinning and bond that holds the alliance, which none of the other issues can unset.
So coming to the opposition itself, the DMK obviously considers the AIADMK as the main opposition here. But there is a new player in the game, actor Vijay, who says that he is the only opposition to the DMK. And if people want to see a change of governance, you have to elect Vijay. And now the other thing is that he has managed to come up with 234 names of candidates in all the constituencies, which at one point people thought were not, or is not possible at all. Is Vijay a real contender, or is the AIADMK the real, opponent to the BJP? I mean, up to the DMK at this point.
So AIADMK may very well be an opponent to the BJP at some point, and that is the problem with that party. Now, AIADMK is a 50-year-old party, whereas Mr. Vijay's Tamaraga Vetri Kazhagam is almost 5, maybe 8 months old. So it's very difficult and impossible to compare the two. See, any political leadership, whether it is my party or any other, they have to face crisis and come out of it. In Tamaraga Vetri Kazhagam, they started the party. Of course, there was a lot of expectation and when I say hype. But after that, there was one crisis, which was Karur. And then we could not see the party, the infrastructure, the leadership. Everybody seemed to be gone amiss. Yeah. So this shows, in a sense, unfortunately, what might be their style of governance or leadership, which is something that the state of Tamil Nadu cannot, at this moment even attempt or give a chance to, right? So therefore, my view, if I may, of the Tamaraga Vetri Kazhagam and on Mr. Vijay's party is that it is so far only built on hype. Now, hype is excellent for cinema. We all look forward to movies and we look forward to the hype of the trailers and the teasers. Yeah. But governance is not just a 3-hour entertainment, right? It's 5 years. So you have Mr. M.K. Stalin, who has delivered, who has shown what 5 years of governance can do to a state, pushing us to one of the fastest growing economies, 11% growth, a greater amount of female workforce participation. And please do not forget, Mr. M.K. Stalin has been, leader of opposition from 2011, essentially the de facto leader of opposition from 2011 to 21. Yeah. He has understood governance, he understands administration, he understands politics. So I think any party, be it Mr. Vijay's or any other which may come in the last minute and say, we will give you governance, you cannot just go and buy something based on hype, right? Yeah. We make sure even before we buy a single product, we make sure we check the reviews, we speak to our friends, we make sure that that product has done well in the market. And that is what the DMK provides, time-tested governance.
Yeah, this election is a little strange, I would say, and of course very important to all the two political parties. The DMK is trying to do a back-to-back this particular election, never done after 1971. And it seems well poised to do that, given the fact that West Asia is burning at this point of time, and the entire onus of ensuring that the petrol and diesel prices do not rise and LPG is available is completely on the union government. Do you see the union government doing a good enough job in Tamil Nadu when it comes to LPG availability or the availability of other petroleum products? And how is that going to impact this election? Because we are going to have an election on April 23rd, right in the peak of summer. Everybody needs electricity. And at the same time, Tamil Nadu is a nearly 90% LPG state. So given that those facts, how difficult is it for the opposition to push forward their agenda in this scenario?
Well, you absolutely hit the nail on its head, right? So we have a crisis at the time of election, which is, let us say, let's confine ourselves to the LPG problem. Tamil Nadu is 88% LPG, right? But let's explain to our viewers what the rest of the country is like. Madhya Pradesh is 44%. Chhattisgarh is 30% LPG. Uttar Pradesh is around 54% and Rajasthan is around 50%. Now you have a state like Tamil Nadu which uses LPG twice as much as these 3-4 states, right? So the real solution can be only in a federalist policy. The government, the union government, when it takes a whole bird's eye view of India, may say, okay, LPG is only 50% use it. But in a state like Tamil Nadu, it is disproportionately important. Most of our kitchens run on LPG. Most of our eatery businesses run on LPG. So therefore, only a party, only a state which can fight for its federal rights, fight for greater share of what it's due, can ultimately give better governance in any such issue, right? So this is something that, I hope the people watching this video understand that why we keep arguing for federalism. It is not just an academic or an abstract concept. This is something that we have been repeatedly with N.K. Stalin, though, the election season had started, he had written to Mr. Modi, he had asked the union government to ensure that LPG supply is not, stopped for a state like Tamil Nadu, which relies on it greatly. Now, the political ramifications of it, like though the West Asian conflict has grown out of proportion, we hope that, and we will stand with the union government to ensure that these kind of supplies are not hit, because these are ultimately matters of engines of growth, right? And Tamil Nadu, with its industries, with its manufacturing, with its vibrant economy, needs all of these sort of engines of growth more than ever.
Yeah. So how do you balance blaming the union government for not giving enough resources to Tamil Nadu, not giving enough railways to Tamil Nadu, not giving enough projects to Tamil Nadu, with the cooperation on the LPG or any of these national security issues? How is it? How difficult or how easy is it to blame? And this is an election season. You have to do platform speaking. So how easy or difficult is this process for the DMK and its allies?
It's very simple if you look at the union government as our government, right? I mean, of course, we have our disagreements with them. We have our policy disagreements. We have deep ideological differences. But that should never stop the DMK or any person or any other party in the country holding our government to account. So it is not that people who did not vote for DMK cannot come and ask DMK, hold us to account. So therefore, I think there's an essential part of democracy, what we are doing. We have to work with our union government to ensure that our Tamil Nadu citizens or residents are not affected or impacted adversely. So it is our duty to ensure that the union government doesn't think of Tamil Nadu, as just another state, but they are explained and they understand that Tamil Nadu is a high LPG state. And of course, the other southern states are as well, but Tamil Nadu more so. So it is our duty as not just the government, but as a political party, as a representative of the people here, as a leading political voice, to ensure that the union government consistently understands and will never ever neglect the interest of Tamil Nadu. So that is why we have been one of the sharpest voices with regard to delimitation. From almost a year ago, you saw 6 other chief ministers come to Chennai and stand alongside Mr. Stalin, because Tamil Nadu will be disproportionately impacted by something like a delimitation exercise. So therefore, these are all things that we have to do and we must do, whether we are in government or not. These are things that we do because we are a responsible political organization.
Couple of personal questions. You are writing a book on the DMK. How far has it come, and when is it being released? And what is it about?
So the book captures 100 years of the temple entry movement. And it is very uniquely situated because it closely mirrors the growth of the Dravidian movement. It starts in Vaiko, which was in the state of Travancore as it was there, the kingdom of Travancore, and it progresses all the way to the present day Tamil Nadu, Kerala, models of how temples are democratized, right, over a 100-year period. So it talks about caste, it talks about the birth of the self-respect movement, and all the way till now how politically we have kept these issues alive. Typically, a lot of people think religion must be something that is a matter of private belief there. So why is the state involved, right? A great case in point is what is now coming up in the review petition before the Supreme Court on the Sabarimala. In 2018-19, the Supreme Court held that women cannot be prohibited from entering the Sabarimala Temple, and the opposition to women entry was based on religious beliefs. But the Supreme Court held that everybody must be treated equal. Now this is being reviewed, and I dare say my book makes a very strong argument that the states must consistently keep a close watch and supervise how temples are conducted. Otherwise, First it will be women, then it will be people from other castes, and we will get to a situation where only one small group of people will be allowed into temples and not otherwise.
You're directly hitting on the BJP's idea that the temple should be controlled by certain communities and not by the state. Is that
In 2021, the BJP manifesto in Tamil Nadu had a paragraph saying all temples, if BJP was elected to power, all temples in Tamil Nadu will be removed from the state control, that is under the control of the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Board, and given to a group of scholars and saints. This is the most atrocious suggestion, right? Who are going to be the scholars? Who are going to be the saints? The BJP has not defined it. They have not implemented it in any way. But the southern states, which were the states of erstwhile Madras Presidency, have always had this view that the temples must always have a link with the state. And if you look at it, it's not so egregious because the temples were endowed with lands, with material, with resources by the kings. If you go back to the Tanjavur big temple, with Redishwara temple, all the lands came from the great Chola kings, so on and so forth. So they always had a close link. Now to say that we will take the temples from the state purview and give it to some friends and relatives does not seem to be the way we should go forward as a more eco society.
Are you liberty to share the name of the book?
The book is called The People's Sanctum. It is being published by Tenbu in Brandom House. The idea is it's a play on this whole Sanctum Sanctorum, which they say not everybody can enter the Sanctum Sanctorum. I argue how the temples have become now the People's Sanctum. So even in the last 5 years, in 2021 onwards, the DMK appointed 50 members of backward caste, scheduled caste communities, including 2 women, to various temple boards and employees. So therefore, it has now become a place where there should be absolute equality without any limitation. So hence the People's Sanctum.
Yeah, last question, very personal question. You watch your father being thrashed by Gundas because he tried to file a case against Jayalalitha. He was in hospital. Why is it that, you are still in the same politics as your father practiced? Did that encourage you or did that discourage you from becoming a member of the DMK?
I think perhaps any personal incident always has a disproportionate impact on you, right? I mean, it's one thing to read about the conflict in West Asia, but it can be a totally different thing to live through it. Definitely, when something negative happens to somebody close to you, you do feel more discouraged, I would say. Yeah, but at least I think that is the general understanding. For me, what that entire incident taught me was that my father stood for something he believed in. He filed a case against what he saw as very clear and apparent corrupt practices by a sitting chief minister and cabinet between 91 and 96. Yeah. And he, as a lawyer, his job was to ensure that when his client believed that there were corrupt practices being done by the chief minister, he had to go fight. And he never once asked why or took a step back, thinking that these people are very powerful or they are in government, they are not in government, and so on. So what it taught me is that you must, stand for what you believe in. And something that I believe in, and as you can see with even the topic I've chosen for my very first book, is something that closely mirrors the Dravidian model or the Dravidian ideology. Something as unique as the self-respect movement is not seen in any other part of the world, okay? No other movement in the world even talks about the concept of self-respect, right? It's a bit so simple, yet so enduring. Please have respect for yourself. It's something I even tell my children, like whatever it is, you must respect yourself, your body, your feelings, your thoughts. Don't let somebody tell you you are wrong. I mean, always be open to criticism, but never ever, feel that you are inferior or you're less than somebody else. So I think that is what always attracted me to a party like the DMK. I came into the party when Karaiyar was the leader. According to me, he is not just a once in a generation, possibly once in a 5 generation, once in a 50-year or 100-year leader. And somebody like him who fought for what he believed in, federalist principles, social justice, all of that resonated closely with me. And my own concept of who I am, I think is why I'm the DMK.
Thank you so much for your response, and thank you, Manu, for this wonderful interview. Hope to see you again at another interview. This is Frontline Conversations. This time, see you soon.